Like we should have an opportunity to move past that and understand that Angel Reese can be great in her own right, as Caitlin Clark is as well. Caitlin Clark is a likable and lovable superstar. She pays homage to the stars of the past. She pays homage to the black women that have come before her. And now she is carrying the mantle forward. So there's no need to pin those two against each other and paint them based on stereotypical tropes. And I think this is what I'd like RG3 to know.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got something to talk about with this one, man. Woohoo! RG3, Ryan Clark, heated debate, kind of very articulately done here by Ryan Clark. We're going to get into what's going on and what we're talking about, but of course, you already know, right? The whole Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese kind of debacle of what happened at the game over the weekend with the hard foul. So let's first go to that part. Let's look at the play, right? And then we're going to see what RG3 is talking about, and we'll continue the conversation that Ryan Clark is talking about. For first, let's go to the play, right? Let's see what we're looking at here. So I did some editing to this play. Um, Let me just stop it right there because I wanted to see everybody's play. All right, so if you look at this play, you see on the left block a little bit is Angel Reese, and you see Clark kind of coming in for the rebound right behind her, right? So let's look at the play go. Right now, let's stop it right there. I'm going to zoom in real quick, but let's stop it right there. You see Angel Reese right there behind. I forget who this player is. Right there. But if you go in here, too strong. Right there, look. So there's the point, and there was a big push off of a foul that wasn't called. Right? See the arms extended, push off, whatever. Okay, basketball play, pushed off, too strong on a. Clark is like, Clayton Clark is like, yo, right? And then she's eyes are already in on Angel Reese. So here's the play. Hard foul. Tough foul, right? Tough foul. Game's over already, but tough foul. Angel gets up. All right, like, what's good? What the fuck you doing? Yada, yada this, yada, yada that. All right. So that's the play that everybody's talking about. Now, my sense of it in this play is that Caitlin Clark saw that her player got fouled hard. She didn't get thrown to the ground, but a hard foul. So to me, Caitlin Clark is defending her player, taking pretty much an unnecessary foul. No easy baskets, but you're going to hit my guy. You're going to hit my girl. I'm going to hit you hard too, right back. Because she didn't see you coming, so you didn't think I was going to come down a hard foul. Was the foul a little excessive? More than likely, yes, it was excessive. But it was in a basketball play. It was a basketball play. But now the narrative is now getting exploded because Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese will ever be connected because through college and through WNBA, they will ever be connected. You cannot separate the two and have one go up one way and one go up the other. It's Larry Bird and Michael Jordan. It's Larry and Magic. This is what the WNBA needs. I just want to be clear with this. This is great for the WNBA. Not so great from a social standpoint because we'll get into how this is now being a racial thing, but those racial things made all those things work. Larry and Magic work because it was a white guy and a black guy. That's just the way the puzzle fits. Michael and Larry fit because it was a white and black guy. Okay, it's just the way it fits. It fits the narrative. It fits the story. It fits the look. One from Indiana, one in Chi-Town. We already know about, unfortunately, the racial slurs that come with it, and that's the bad part of it. But also, this is good for the WNBA because it adds storylines and we get the conversation going. And we get to talk about these women playing a great sport, which they should have the spotlight on all of them. Some get more than others, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's bring up what RG3 is talking about. And, just look at his face. I don't like it already, right? This kid was a clown, man. You know what I mean? But let's look at what he's talking about, how he's trying to paint the story of Angel Reese being the villain and Caitlin Clark being the hero. And that's where I really get from this. And he's trying to paint the story as, you know, you did this against her, but you didn't do this against this person. So let's take a look what he's got.
Guys, it's so obvious that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. If you don't know, let me inform you about what happened. Caitlin.
All right, let's stop right there. I you can't make that distinction that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark. Like, you just can't, because of one interaction. We have no idea what those interactions behind the scenes. We have no understanding what they talk about. Friends battle each other on the court. When I was on the football field and somebody took a hit or something I didn't like, we handle it. Boys fight. Girls fight. And they're still friends afterwards. So to sit here and paint that picture, the first thing you say out of your mouth is that she hates, and the key word is hate, is pretty over the top, man. You trying to add a lot of fuel to the fire. So it is what it is.
Clark committed a hard foul on Angel Reese as she was wide open for a free, easy layup. Routine play. Every one of you that's watching has heard your coach tell you, hey, we ain't gonna give them no easy points, no easy baskets, no easy baskets in the paint, baby. So
all right, so his impression sucks, right? His impression totally sucks. I don't know what he's trying to do there, but whatever.
Why do I think
he's
Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark?
Stupid.
It could be the fact that Aaliyah Boston had to save Angel Reese from ending her career.
That's her
this
name,
is a
Aaliyah
still
Boston.
shot. After the foul that Caitlin Clark put on Angel Reese tried to hit her. But if it wasn't for Aaliyah.
All right, so now it's cap, right? It's more cap from this boy. First, she hates him. Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark, and then she was going to punch her. You're putting the story. Are you putting the story together like you knew that was going to be the outcome? I don't think Angel Reese was going to hit Caitlin Clark. I think Angel Reese would have gotten Caitlin Clark's face, like, what's up? She might have pushed her, but she wasn't going to steal her. She wasn't raw. She wasn't like, she didn't move in that way to punch her. She moved in a way like, yo, what's up? You know what I mean? Like, you nuts? You crazy? Like, you going to really hit me hard like that, especially when you up 20, 25 or whatever the score was at the time? You know what I'm saying? So easy, RG. You adding too much here.
Boston putting her arms in the way. Angel Reese would not be playing basketball anymore.
I can't listen to this bull no more, okay? She would be, right? The league needs Angel Reese, period, right? Because the storyline doesn't happen without Angel Reese, right? If you want to paint the villain role, you need a Batman and you need a Joker to make it work. You need a Superman. You need a Lex Luthor. You need a Charles Xavier and a Magneto. You need a Sabretooth. You need a woman. It's just the way. It's natural thing, baby. Like, you can't sit here and say she would be out the league. She wouldn't be out the league. Suspended. And we're all talking about hypothetical stuff. You got no idea, bro. Like, you just talking out your ass. You got no idea. And it's bad because you're painting the picture of a black woman being hostile to another woman who is white, and you're painting this picture that she hates her, she hates the way almost she looks, she was going to punch her in her face, they were going to throw out the league. Nah, bro, you ain't the one. You ain't the one to be making that call. You know what I'm saying? But let's go to what Ryan Clark had to say about this whole ordeal as well. That I think he put articulately done, but at the same time, I think he missed the mark on one point. Listen to that.
As professionals, all we can speak to as analysts. Angel Reese pushed one of her teammates. Caitlin Clark had a hard foul, which is part of basketball. Absolutely. I feel like it was assessed correctly. And Angel Reese's reaction is the sort of reaction you get in a situation when you feel like you took an intentionally hard foul.
So these are all facts. I completely agree with Ryan Clark here.
That's competitiveness. That's rivalry. That's not hate. And so now, though, when RG3 jumps on to the hate train or to the angry train, and now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy, as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain in Caitlin Clark's heroic or hero story.
So what he's saying is that now the fuel's being fired on Angel Reese, that she is. He didn't say this, but what he's saying is that she's an angry black woman. The angry black woman, tip uh, stereotypical that comes with being a black woman in today's society, and what we already have or known has been a typical thing in the black community. So that's what he's kind of insinuating, and that's what he's portraying. And I think he's also saying that I get that from the Dave Portnoy's and the other guys, but coming from you, bro, like that hits a little bit different, right? Because you're a black man, and in the end, a black man is supposed to uplift a black woman, and you'll see why I said that.
Right. The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what black women have to endure in this country, about what young black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on the opposite side of Caitlin Clark's rise and ascension into stardom. Now, when you look at it, I think.
So I kind of disagree with this because you don't know what's going through in his household. You don't know the conversations he's having in his household. So you're making the assumption because his wife's white that he's not having those conversations. Now, his wife won't be able to relate to those conversations. But at the same time, I think that we don't know if RG3 has a sister, aunt, cousin, or whatever that he's actually having these conversations with. Now, you can't do it with your spouse and your partner at that level, but I think that's a little bit misguided to say that he's not having this conversation. I believe RG3 has a daughter. Now, she is mixed, and I have a mixed daughter, but at the same time, how are you raising your daughter? I raised my daughter to be a black queen. When she looks in the mirror, she's going to see a black woman. When she walks out this door, she's going to see a black woman. When I look at her, I see a black woman, even though she's of a mixed race. So I think, bro, you need to I think that one was a little bit of a reach, in my opinion, because we don't know what's going on in that man's household and what those conversations are. We're just making an opinionated guess on what it is because of what he portrays.
A'ja Wilson is the face of the league. A'ja Wilson is the best player in the league. Caitlin Clark is the most important player in the WNBA. And a ton of her fandom has come along with some racial bias or some racial pieces to why people love her so much. And so now, if you're RG3, when is the last time within your household you've had a conversation about what she's dealing with? You haven't been able to do that because in both of your marriages, you've been married to white women. You haven't had opportunities to have those conversations to educate you on what they're feeling, what black women deal with, what they're seeing when they think of a young Angel Reese. And the whole.
So my response to that is he got a mama, don't he? Right? He got an aunt. He grew up, I believe, in a black household. At least I think he did. I'm not sure if he's adopted. I don't really know. Maybe he's talking of experience that Ryan Clark is having. But I think, again, he's missing the mark here because now he's getting personal. Right now he's attacking Robert Griffin III, RG3's character as a black man, in my opinion, because he's saying, who are you to judge this young black woman when you don't even have that in your household and you're not even able to have these high level conversations? Again, I'll go back to my daughter who's of mixed race. I have these conversations with my daughter. I teach my daughter about what it is to be a black queen. And why do I do that? Because I grew up in a black household, because I grew up in a household with a single mother who was a black queen, who held down 2 or 3 jobs. I actually have my sister is even getting a little emotional, right? You hear that in my voice? Because it feels deep, because I know what that pain is. I understand that pain. I lived in a household with that pain because I grew up in a household with no father. I grew up in a household with 2 black women, 2 strong black women, mind you, by the way, that taught me what it was like to understand what that pain is. So unless you fully understand or know that is what's going to his household, I don't know if you can typically say that. Now, I get the point that he can't have that conversation with his wife because his wife is white. right? And I understand and actually can relate to that conversation because there's a sense of what a white woman would understand versus a black woman. And there's another sense of how a white woman would understand a black man's struggle because it is always said that a black man's struggle is only understood by a black woman. So all good there. I understand that. And I applaud that too, as well, for those who are going, who actually have that in terms of their spouse. But at the same time, to say that he doesn't understand a black woman's struggle, I don't know if you can say that, bro, because he had a black mom, right? And I feel like he grew up in the South a little bit. So how could he not see or be in a household and not understand what a black woman's struggle would be by watching his mom, whether his mom was successful or not? He would be able to see and understand that and go those through those experiences because I know I did for sure. So, yeah, I think you off on that one, bro. Real talk.
Time that he's mimicking Angel Reese and bobbing his head and moving his neck while he's doing this whole piece, his wife is in the back amening and clapping. And so to me, it's just another situation that now this young lady has to deal with. When I worked with RG3, he would make all of these sort of corny jokes about milk and how much he loved it and how important.
So I think this is where this is coming from because of RG3's background, right? And his experience with him. So maybe Ryan Clark does have that inside track of that. There's not much in this video left. So maybe RG, maybe he does have that, but I still think that even though the message was articulately done by RG3, I still think he missed the mark on certain points about keeping it towards Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. He went a little bit personal. I think he attacked RG3. I think he attacked RG3's character. Fair enough if he's sticking up for Angel Reese because he feels like Angel Reese is getting attacked, which she is. I will never say that she's not. She definitely is because it's that stereotype is now being pointed on her and being the villain with that. And some people lean into that, kind of what RG3 had said before. Like Angel Reese came out, quote, and said, "I will be the villain. I'll take the bad guy role." And she'll lean into that. And some people can do that because they have the alpha personality too. And I think that Angel Reese does. But I think both of them are wrong and right in certain parts. I'm not sure if RG3 is even right. I'm not sure what he's right in. Maybe because of the reaction was a little bit different against Caitlin Clark, and maybe she wouldn't have did that against somebody else, maybe bigger her size. Give or take, who knows? Maybe she was just frustrated at the time that they were getting bombed by 25, 30 points. And, she went up for a back and she got hit a little bit too heavy. I don't know. Maybe Caitlin Clark called her up afterwards and had a conversation with us. We don't know. But I think that Ryan Clark has a right to make his claims because he might have intimate personal relationship with RG3 or been around him enough to be able to say that. I just think he missed the mark on some of those points that I said before that I think that went a little bit too personal, went a little bit too far with that. So interesting conversation though, right? Very interesting conversation, very good, healthy debate in terms of opinions and things to be said. And people could say this and that, but I just wanted to drop my knowledge on this one as well. So this is Moss Money. This is Fast Money Talk. Agent Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark will go down as the biggest rivalry ever in WNBA history. I'm out of here.